Hey, what's up? Welcome to the J Word. I'm your host, Justly Lachey, and welcome to my channel. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Today's video, as I promised from the last night's video, I was going to talk about like more of a spiritual side of conversations. I want to talk about the decks and stuff that I have, and talk about how I get into, or how I got into it, and things like that. So, without any further delay, here we go. We're going to jump right into it. Growing up, I was raised Christian, non-denomination. My family is still heavily Christian, non-denomination, and things of that nature. And so, I mean, like, there's, I can't really talk about this kind of thing with them just because of, tarot is so taboo. And the crazy thing is that my great aunt, who has passed away years ago, I had found out that she used to do tarot, and it was just this thing that my family didn't talk about. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it was only when it was starting to be introduced to me that this came about, that I was even told about my great aunt. So I was like, oh, well, why don't we have more conversations about this? But, in majority black families, you don't talk about that kind of stuff unless you want to be ostracized or, the black sheep of the family. I like to call myself the psychedelic black sheep of the family, to be honest. But I wanted to come and make this video as I promised, and as well I got myself together. So I was like, before I be ready to take all this stuff off, why not go into the video? So that was my background, a little bit of background. How I got into, or the first initial introduction into it. One of my ex's mother, she was into tarot. She had one of her cards and books, and she told me that my third eye was half closed, and I was like, third eye, what? But it was like fascinating, because I was like, huh. And the crazy thing is, like, growing up, I don't want to say but I was taught, you don't mess with that stuff. That's something that you don't do. If you're a Christian and you love Jesus, you don't do anything related to tarot whatsoever, which is why I don't really talk about it with my family so much. But they may see this video, and I feel like, well, I'm about to be 35, why not? It was just something you don't discuss, really. And, and everybody kind of felt like you're playing with the devil and all that kind of stuff. So when this happened, I didn't know how to feel about it, because I actually read my ex's cards and how it happened. We was talking about it, and she had the books, and I was just like, oh, whoa, what is this? And I actually performed a reading on him. And because his mom was like, I cannot, this is my baby. I don't want to see what's going to happen. I don't want to know. So I was like, okay. So I dealt the cards, because it had the little guidebook. It had the instructions. I dealt the card, and I read him. And I was just pulling. I just remember feeling my intuition kind of rising, like, and so I actually was spot on when I gave him my first reading. And because I didn't know how to feel about that, and it was like almost like a battle with myself, I was like, oh, and I hadn't done it since for like a really long time. But then years later, through my twin flame, which I try not to go there, but he introduced me to a lot more. And then I got to talking to different people who get into it. And I had my first reading, like, done on me, by Lady Speech. If you haven't heard of her, I suggest you go find out, because that lady is lovely. And she reminds me actually of my grandmother on my dad's side. I just love her to death for some reason. I'm just like, oh, every time I see her, I want to give her a big hug. So shout out to Lady Speech. But she was the first person, and it felt like she's been with me my whole life when I had the reading. And I was like, well. But by that time, I started researching. I started looking at stuff. So before I even had that first reading, I was just kind of curious, and looking at stuff. And then I started feeling like there was something to it. That's how I got into it. I started with the rose quartz crystal. I don't have it on me. I'm not wearing it right now, but it's downstairs. I have started collecting crystals. I started looking at affirmations, all kinds of stuff. So I kind of started opening my own horizon. So because it's such a sensitive subject with my family, I just don't even go there with them. I don't think any of my family, to be honest, knows that I know of or that I could think of, but a couple of my friends do. So I wanted to show you some of the decks that I have acquired. So it's a combination of tarot cards and affirmation cards. And I am always trying to build up my collection based on, what the spirits, God, the ancestors, the angels, what have you, lead me to pick up. So my first ever deck, I went to the herbal art store, and I could not leave this store without this deck. I was just drawn to the cover. I was like, whoa, what is that? How much? I didn't even, I spent money that I probably shouldn't have financial wise, but I just couldn't leave the store without getting it. So, and that would be my Isis deck right here. I saw the cover and was just drawn to it, and I do not regret that buy, even though it was financially irresponsible a little bit. It didn't leave me broke, but it was did you really need to spend that extra $20 kind of thing? So, but I love this deck. I love the imagery. It's just beautiful pictures, and I just was drawn to this deck, and I believe that things happen for a reason. So it was meant for me to get this deck. And it didn't come with the book or anything, but it did have the little information card. But I just was drawn to it. And then even when I took it out of the box and was looking at, some of the different cards, I was just like, these are beautiful. I've never seen cards like these. And so this was my first ever deck, and the one that's closest to my heart, because I was like, I cannot leave without that in my bag, okay? So that's my first one. And then I don't really have a particular order. I just wanted to make sure that I pointed out my very first deck. So, one of the other decks that I had came across was the Rebel deck. And this one, I follow the Fluffy Oracle. And she uses this deck in some of her readings. And I was like, oh, I need that one too. So I was really, even though these are not pictures like the other one, of course, but how I cuss like a sailor. I will admit it. So this was right up my alley for me. This one, stop sleeping so damn much. Wake up, you are missing some cool shit. So I really love this deck. It kind of, those direct little punches that you need sometimes, that pop. So I really, like this deck. This is another deck that I was like, yep, you calling my name. I hear you. I'm going to get you. I have a giant to purchase list on Amazon. So the next deck that I went out and got was my Moonology. And this one I found out about through a couple. I think it was the Fluffy Oracle and Shanetta's Divine Tarot. She calls herself with something like Golden Lineage or something, but you can find both of them on here on YouTube. But this was another one that I was like, beautiful, and it was calling my name. So that's, I'm gonna show you. I'm getting a call. Decline. I don't know who you are anyway. But I really am I'm a night owl, so it made sense for me just because of that. Like, that was one of the reasons that I was attracted to this deck, because I am a true night owl. If I am awake in the morning, it is only for school and to make money. So these are what this deck looked like. I was like super excited. I like the different phases of the moon, so I was really attracted to that. And that's one deck that I have. So 3 down. So as far as affirmations, I also got these ones. She believed, so she did. She believed, she could, so she did. It's 50 cards. These ones are a little hard to shuffle just because they're square. But these are nice cards too. I like the different colors. The quotes, you must do the thing you think you cannot do, by Eleanor Roosevelt. I can't talk today. But yeah, it's just a little hard to shuffle, but I, started including affirmations in my collection. And that was totally inspired by a lady's speech, because I was like, oh, yeah, I think that's cool, I thought this brought something different to just tarot readings in general. And I like that a lot of people do include affirmation decks, really. This next one is Stress Less, and it's 50 cards that has, different quotes and sayings and things like that. So these ones are, just a little small deck. Let me see if I could just pick one at random. That's not too long. This one. This one says breathe power. Close your eyes and breathe normally. Whenever breathing in, imagine breathing in power and good feeling. You can imagine the power you're breathing in with a color or a light. Breathe this way for 5 to 10 minutes. Every breath charges you like you charge your phone. Peaceful breathing relaxes the body. So I really like this one. At times when I am stressed, and I really was attracted to this deck just because it was stress less cards, and work is one of the most stressful places that anyone can be at, especially in the healthcare industry. So I was like, yes, I need to keep this handy. So that's my stress less deck. So the next deck that I will talk about is my Goddess Oracle cards. These This deck is another one that I was like, God, yes, I need it. And, you know, I just go by whatever intuition it is. I don't just necessarily pick them at random, but it's like I do, but I don't. So these are what those cards look like. They're beautiful. They're big cards, and you know, just get into the message. Like this one, Hathor receptivity. I don't know if I said that right. But allow yourself to receive. This will increase your intuition, energy, and ability to give it to others. So, you know, this is another oracle deck that I was like, yeah. And then when after buying the Moonology, I wanted to make sure that I mixed that up. I didn't just buy all oracle cards. I wanted to buy affirmations as well, because I feel like that's important to have a part of it. I just go with whatever intuition leads me to do. So the next one, this one, it has an interesting story for me. This is affirmators, something. But I was seeing this everywhere. I was seeing this at different offices. It was like something would pop up online, and I was like, okay, apparently I need this deck too. So, because I was seeing it literally everywhere, and I was just like, yeah, this was meant. So I actually do like these cards, and I want to get the other collection. There's a creative one that I really want, but it's on my, I'm gonna get it together. But these have pictures and things like this. Like this one says, impermanence. Life is always changing, and I drift easily through those changes, good and bad. As I drift through hard times, I can take comfort in knowing that I will leave them behind. As I drift away from good times, I can take comfort in knowing that more will come my way. Impermanence. I just realized I didn't say it right the first time. Sorry. Is an equal opportunity non-entity. So I really like these cards too. These feel more like a perspective, like when you are tripping, and these will bring you back down to earth in a good way. Like, you know, not you know, I just really like this deck because it kind of brings you back from going too far. Because for me, I suffer from depression and anxiety. This deck helped me not go too far. So the next deck, I have Karma cards, and this one, I couldn't not buy them because it was like I kept seeing them online. I didn't see them everywhere like the other ones, but like I just, like, something was drawing me to it, so I got them. Pull these out if I can. This deck I haven't used that much, obviously, because I can't even really get it out the box all the way. But I haven't used this deck a lot, but I would like to incorporate more practice with this deck. But it has the houses, it's the planets. Again, these cards are beautiful too. Signs, things like that. This is what the other side of the cards look like. Like this one is, look at the back. This is a house card, and it's the 5th house. If you're familiar, this one links up more with astrology, which I've started to get more into as well. Like this one says, with the trust of a child, fun, romance, and making art, do it dramatically. Then it says the power of love, investment, gambles, and other games, your creation. So I really like this deck. I would like to have more practice using this one. So this is one of my newer decks that I haven't used a whole lot, but I hope to get some more practice in with using. Let's see, what's my next one? So that's my karma cards. The next deck is an affirmation. I love these ones. I love the affirmation. This was another one that was nagging at me for a while. These are what they look like. They also have like moon phases on them. You know, different little affirmations. Says, I am resilient. If my mood wavers, it doesn't stay that way permanently. I allow myself to feel my feelings until I can refocus my thoughts on the positive. I do not judge myself for being human. I am resilient. So even if you're not into tarot, I highly recommend affirmation cards. So even if that's not your thing, and that's okay, it's not your thing. If I never put pressure on anybody. Just because I do the whole shebang don't mean that that's for you. You may not feel that way. So that's cool too. I don't put any pressure to be like, oh, if you do affirmation, you need to do tarot. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not that even type of person. But this next one is chakra reading cards. And I have done a lot of research and getting into the chakras, healing, and meditations and stuff like that. These cards are also very beautiful. So this is the back of the cards. And then this is the other side. So, like you have communication, you have inspiration. So these are beautiful cards. I have not used this deck a lot either, and I hope to make that change as well. So I hope to use that deck a little bit more often, just because, so I could get into the practice of using it. Last but not least to my collection thus far is Keepers of the Light Oracle cards. And I saw these on Amazon, and I was like, okay, I see you. Pull these ones out. So this is my newest deck that I have. So this is what the back of the cards look like. This is the other side. Like this one says, Lady Nada, Heart Awakening. Awaken to acceptance and divine love. Give and receive in balance. So I really like these cards. I feel like the art is really nice as well. This is my newest deck. I hope to incorporate more into my collection, as well as more crystals and things like that. I feel like tarot and all that kind of thing is based on the user. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, the way I look at it is people use Christianity for all kinds of devious behavior and just feel like it's to say in the name of the Lord that it's okay. Like the KKK, for example, is Christian based. So they feel like lynching people is okay as long as they do it in the name of the Lord. Like, really? So I feel like tarot's that kind of same thing, in my opinion. It's about the user. Of course, if anything is bad, if you have the bad intention for it, if you are looking to hurt somebody, seek revenge and all that kind of stuff, yeah, it's bad, and most of the time that stuff will backfire on you. So that is my collection. I tried to go through all my decks as quickly as I could. I keep my decks in my special little box that I got from Michael's art supply store. But you know, it's just about the user. You know, of course, if you're using it for bad, then why would you think good is gonna happen to you? Like, really? So, you know, that's kind of the way that I look at it. Not everybody's gonna look at it that way. Not everybody's gonna be open-minded or be understanding to it, and that's fine. You know, I try not to put pressure on anybody regarding this kind of thing, because it's, you know, not everybody's cup of tea, and it's not everybody's thing, and that's fine. You know, I don't hate you for it. I don't, you know, put the pressure on or anything like that, but that is my decks, and I keep them in my lovely box here in my room, and that's why I wanted to make sure I did this while my nieces were at school, because one of my nieces seen my Crimes Against Humanity cards, and she's 10. So she's like, Auntie, can we play this? And no, ma'am, not until you're 18. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content that I had for you guys going through my decks. I am thinking about doing some pick a card or pick a pile readings, because that's been something that's been kind of tugging at me too, to maybe try to get into. I feel a little intimidated to do that, just because the people that I do follow, like the Tarot Priestess and the Fluffy Oracle and Lady Speech, and so many people that I follow and watch their tarot videos, I feel a little intimidated because they've been at it longer than I have, and they are more open with theirs, where I am is not. I'll only mostly talk about it if you are interested in that kind of thing. So that's the disclaimer for all of my videos. If you're interested in that kind of topic, feel free to conversate, leave a comment, ask questions, anything like that. So, because I never want to put pressure again on anybody. That's pretty much it. I just kind of wanted to share that and let it be something that I can talk about on this platform, because there's not too many that I can just freely talk about it otherwise, or, you know, go into details about it. And I felt like this was my chance to do that. So until the next video, which I hope will be soon, I got some more reading to do so I could do some more book reviews and catch up on my Goodreads quota, because I fell behind due to some illness. So I will be getting to that. Hope you guys have a good day.